Hello and welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the breaking news special. And of course, we're here to talk about the Nintendo Switch 2. And of course, I could not have done this show with anyone else that's been a panel member of any of my shows. He is Mr. Nintendo himself, making his triumphant return. N64 Josh, what's up, brother? Good morning. And wow, what a way to wake up to it. This is what we've been waiting for. We got a glimpse of Mario Kart 9, the new console, bigger screen, magnetic controllers. We're going to be breaking it all down. I'm super stoked. Listen, we're going to talk about price. Josh has a bunch of theories, apparently for days, but we're going to spend about 30 or 40 minutes hanging out here with you today. Josh, welcome back, brother.
It's so good to be here, my friend. So good to be here. And what an exciting morning, like you said, like waking up, everybody in the Nintendo YouTube space, everybody has been saying, "Oh, today is the day."
Yep.
Right? And everybody anticipated yesterday that there would be a some kind of a tweet just saying, "Hey, here we're gonna announce tomorrow," right? There was nothing. I literally started putting out Switch 2. Like, I put out a tweet of just one of the screws from the dock. It was just a joke, just here's something, right? And so I've been fighting a bug for the last 8 days. This is the best I have felt in literally since last Tuesday. And
dude.
And I still have a pretty gnarly cough, so you'll probably see me mute periodically just because it's still hanging on. But so I'm just kind of sitting on the couch, and I look at my phone, and I have a YouTube notification from Nintendo, right? From Nintendo's main account, and it just says a special update, and I'm like, "Oh my God, it's happening." It's happening, right? So as I'm watching it, then they're tweeting out about it, and myself and my girlfriend are just sitting there watching this reveal and just freaking out, seeing Mario Kart 9 and everything, or 10 or whatever they end up calling it, and just so much fun. It's like Christmas morning.
It is. And if you're wondering, folks, of course I nerded out. Here is there you go.
I love it. Rainbow Road Survivors.
Oh my goodness, that is the classic. That's one of my favorite tracks to race on. Look, ladies and gentlemen, I know normally that we talk a lot about Xbox here, right? Of course, we do have a couple of multi-plat shows on Primetime Gaming and Breakfast at Boom. Breakfast at Boom tomorrow is, of course, going to be led with the Nintendo Switch news, because as the day progresses, we're going to get to know more and more about it as Nintendo starts to drop the pressers to some of the bigger sites. You'll get stuff from IGN, you'll get stuff from VGC, you'll get stuff from GameSpot. So we're going to be monitoring all of the information that's going to be incoming, and we're going to open up tomorrow's show because, again, this is very exciting times. I know Nintendo may not be a big player for a lot of people. Josh, I don't know if you saw, I just took a picture and posted of my physical game collection, which is over 100 games. They're all ready for the upgrade. And again, we're going to get into what some of the specs of the console are, some of the stuff that has been put out there that Nintendo has released. But again, it's happening this year. We are getting a direct. We have all that information. We're going to break that down. There's going to be a hands-on event in Dallas, LA, and New York. Registration goes live tomorrow. I will be breaking that down as well. But Josh, I just want to get your initial thoughts of the console, because I got to be honest with you, it looks so freaking good. The stand 1,000 times better. The screen size, the magnetic Joy-Cons, the black ring around it, it just gives it a big boy looking edge, if you will. I loved everything about this console. Let's get your thoughts.
I mean, we've been seeing this thing for months now, right? With the different leaks that have been out there. And so unfortunately, there wasn't any big surprises. And, part of that's on Nintendo, right? Like they should have, they probably should have announced this thing probably last October, right? Like this video could have gone out last October. They could have got ahead of all of the leaks. So there wasn't a lot of big surprises, which was a little bit of a bummer. I'm excited for the bigger form factor. I think it'll be more comfortable in the hand. I think if you're doing the split Joy-Con with somebody, I think that's going to be more comfortable as
Yes.
well. The magnetic the magnetic Joy-Con, I think, is a fantastic touch. There's been a lot of things about the OG Switch that have been a little bit like felt a little flimsy
A little
or
cheap. Yeah.
a little cheap. The rumor, I mean, again, we don't really have a lot of confirmation on like what the specs are and what the hardware, like if it is Hall effect sticks, but that is what the rumors have been. So they
Right.
could really do away with drift for the most part, which would be great. We haven't seen any kind of pro controller officially yet from Nintendo. So
They're the kings of peripherals. You could imagine when this thing launches, they're gonna have everything available for it, which of course we are gonna buy in abundance.
oh, for sure, yeah. And I mean, I think the most interesting thing with the Joy-Con is the way they show in the video how they're running like
Like a
essentially
mouse.
like a
Yes.
mouse. And
Yeah, it's
so
awesome.
I think there's a very real possibility that we see a first party mouse from Nintendo. It's gonna make games like if Master Chief Collection is truly coming to the Switch,
Yeah.
it's almost like mouse and keyboard support, right? Like you could be and I think what's interesting, and I forgot to mention this in my video that I have going out, is the kickstand. They show the Switch going almost flat,
Yes.
and I kind of wonder if that's not intentional for if you're saying if tabletop mode is going to be something that we end up playing playing a lot more often because of the using the Joy-Con like a mouse
Yeah.
and having it more flat versus kind of upright. And so many things to speculate about, so many interesting choices that they made with this next console. And even calling it Switch 2 is just it's very unorthodox for them, but I think it overall is going to be a good thing.
I think you're right. And I actually thought that it was a little strange that you saw the kickstand go all the way down. Not strange in a bad way, strange in, well, a Nintendo way. Listen, I'm going to tell you this right now.
Mm-hmm.
The rumor for power, I know you were talking about specs.
Yep.
The rumor for power, and again, it's a rumor, folks. We won't know until they do this direct in April. Right, that's when this direct is happening. That's kind of far out, to be honest with you. Because I know I had read somewhere someone had posted something about February, and I'm like, okay, that makes sense. But we got what we got, and we're all excited. We're all going to talk about it. But the rumored specs is that in handheld mode, it's going to be as powerful as a PlayStation 4 Pro, which I think is exactly what lines up with Nintendo. That's just what they do. They make it that way, so it's cheaper. See, again, unlike Microsoft, unlike Sony and PlayStation, they take losses on their consoles. Nintendo doesn't. They don't take losses anywhere. So that's why their technology is always, well, a generation behind. And again, docked, the rumor is that it's going to be compatible or comparable, I should say, to a Series S. Is that true? Well, we're going to find out. One of the things that I saw that a lot of people, I want to get your hot take on this, is it's not an OLED, it's an LCD screen. That has been confirmed. Now, I don't personally care. I have an OLED. Mrs. Boom has an OLED. We love it. The LCD screen is probably going to be. I mean, first of all, the screen size is amazing. It is much bigger than the original by quite a bit. It's incredibly noticeable when you see it when they showed the side by side, which we can actually bring up a picture of it. And if you're wondering why we're not showing the trailer, I'm a little sketchy about doing stuff with Nintendo because they flag your channel and we're not looking to get a strike. So again, folks, I know maybe some other people are showing it, and I've seen them go after people. I mean, look what they did with Genki. They sent lawyers to the floor of the convention. I'm not about that life. So we'll talk about it. I'll bring up some stills, but I'm not going to show the video, unfortunately, because I don't trust Nintendo. As much as I'm a fan, I don't trust them when it comes to the YouTube channel, and this is super important for me and Mrs. Boom not to be, having to battle a Nintendo on a strike. We ain't about that life. But what are your thoughts on that? Is it a miss, or is it standard fare for Nintendo to do the LCD screen first, and then maybe a couple of years later they do an OLED? Or, Josh, like you said something very interesting, that you think there's going to be multiple versions of this. Could there be an LCD screen at this price and an OLED at this price?
I mean, there's so many rumors floating around there, right? Like floating around, and even some different SKUs have shown up with GameStop.
Yes.
And so there's a lot of unanswered questions. My gut feeling is that the OLED would come later.
Okay, makes sense.
That being said, from what I've heard from people, supposed leakers who have already held the system and whatnot, they've said don't count the LCD out yet. Like it's
Okay,
not
good.
like it's not a major downgrade from what I'm hearing.
Okay.
Right. Again, a grain of salt with all of this stuff. I just want everybody to realize that, like, just huge grain of salt. Like we're going off of shipping manifests and people that are in the factories that have supposedly gone hands on, but they haven't seen what they haven't seen gameplay, they haven't seen the menus. It's just been so there's a whole lot of just speculation going on. So that being said, like you said, Nintendo's going to sell at a profit.
Yep.
That's their business model. And so because of that, like, I think the LCDs are probably cheaper for them to manufacture. And again, it leaves option down the road for an upgrade. I mean, we saw them do it with the Switch 1. We saw the Steam Deck do the same thing, come out with the LCD and then come out with the OLED model later, right? From my understanding. And so I don't know that it's going to be, I don't, apples to oranges when I can finally compare it to the OLED when it's in my hands, maybe. But then we're also talking about seeing games that are going to be graphically so much further ahead than what we've seen on the current Switch. I mean, like Doom looks like Clay Fighter when you try to play it on the Switch.
Oh my goodness. Hey,
So,
you know what? Real quick, shout out to Kiefer Mercer in the chat. He says that let me find it. He says probably to keep the launch price down, cheaper than PS5, PS5 Pro, new GPUs, and even Xbox's possible handheld. And you know who I forgot to invite here? Don Otaku, brother. I if you are available to jump on with me and Josh, I'll send you a link. I'll DM you now. He just dropped a super chat. We'll get to that in a second. But Josh, please continue.
yeah. I mean, it probably does boil down to the cost, right? Bottom line is going to always be something that's very important to Nintendo, and they are a business first and foremost, and so keeping the cost down, not only for them but for us as well, right? Because if they come out and it's like $450 and that's where are people gonna put their money? And if it's only $50 more than the OLED, but I believe what it's gonna be capable of doing is honestly, I feel like Nintendo has gone. This will be the generation that the Switch goes from being the tag along console to being the console. And so I I I think we're going to be very shocked with DLSS and all that it's capable of doing, and the way that, from my understanding of what the machine's going to be capable of, they're going to be able to developers are going to be able to deliver games at like 540 essentially, and
Wow.
then the Switch. So you're talking about saving a lot of space as far as file size goes. But then that DLSS is going to work magic in the background as long as the developers are on board and are supporting it. And I think, I mean, we're seeing similar technology within the PlayStation 5 Pro. And I think it's been an interesting time with consoles, right? Like they've been trying to squeeze every bit of power out of these things. And now with machine learning and AI, this DLSS, I think we're going to see the Switch truly impress people and see people going, oh, this is not just my secondary console. Like, don't get me wrong, your PS5 Pro, your Series X, those are still going to look amazing. They're still amazing. I was playing Call of Duty yesterday, like, but I think there's going to be an opportunity here for Nintendo to really shine with this next console, and I think it's going to really impress, and that excites me because as long as I've been a Nintendo fan, and as long as I've been on the gameplay first, or you hear it all the time, I'm ready for games to look amazing.
Yeah,
Like,
I agree. I think it's time, Josh, for games that are not Nintendo first party to look and play amazing. And I think that we are on the cusp of that. Look, again, we don't have the specs. It's safe to assume, uh, again, if we're just going based on some loosely thought opinions and some leaks, the power in handheld mode, PS4 Pro, which we know that can run games that look really good, right? That there's
oh yeah,
make no mistake, the PlayStation 4 ran God of War fantastic. The Pro, it made it look even better. Like the Pro for PlayStation 4 was a significant jump from the PS4 to the Pro. Like you saw the difference. Unlike the PlayStation 5 to the PlayStation 5 Pro, where it's very subtle. If it's true that this thing is as powerful as a Series S, well, you saw what Indiana Jones looks like on the S, right? You saw what some of the other games look like. It looks phenomenal. So
yeah,
if we can get those type of experiences, not only from, because look, let's call a spade here, ladies and gentlemen. Nintendo, when it comes to their first party stuff, they are wizards. Like how they've gotten the games to look and run as good as they've done on what seems to be hardware that is so outdated. It was outdated when it launched in 2017, right? Like that's like cell phone chips in there. Not very powerful, but they made it work. Now, did everything look great? Mostly the Nintendo first party stuff did, but when you got now we're getting to the Switch 2. I think we're going to be in for something special. And on top of that, you got to remember, and I think you actually made a great point, Josh, about this becoming a main player, not a tag along. Oh, I got a PS whatever, and I got a Switch. Or I got an Xbox and a Switch. No, it's going to be I got a Switch too, and this is my main. Now, maybe that's for the casual audience. I mean, look, hardcore guys and gals, we're going to buy everything. That's just what we do, right? That's just what we do.
yeah.
I got some specs here. Well, not specs. I got a breakdown. I want to shout out Okami13 _ phenomenal. Member of the X community, consistently puts out great tweets. Well, these are the first details, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to break them down right now. Backwards compatible with physical and digital Switch 1 games. Now, some certain games may not be compatible. Nintendo at the Direct will break down exactly what won't work. But I would imagine all first party things are going to work. I have a collection of 100 plus games, and I hope that everything works. Bigger screen, seemingly LCD. Like you said earlier, the Joy-Cons can function as a mouse, which is, again, it's very Nintendo, right? Like, who would have thought that you can, pop off that thing and use it like a mouse? That's going to be really cool. Like you said, I wouldn't use it like that for first-person shooters. but some people would. It is going to have 2 USB-C ports. It is coming in 2025, and the official date for the direct, where they're going to really kind of tear this thing down and show you what's coming out, what games are going to be launching with it, is happening April 2nd. Josh, I mean, again, it's the details there. There's not a lot. I've already watched the trailer a couple of times. I want to say maybe 5 times before going live. I mean, Wario64 put out a tweet. I kind of want to talk about this because there, obviously, it's been revealed. We know what it looks like. We have some specs, but there's going to be, folks, if you're interested, what they're calling a Nintendo Switch 2 experience tour dates for the public, not for content creators. That's something different. I'm going to try and get myself in there. For North America, you have a couple of places and dates. So New York is going to have it from April 4th to the 6th. They're going to have it then it's going to be going to Los Angeles from the 11th to the 13th. After that, they're going to Dallas, Texas, April 25th through the 27th.
And Toronto that same day.
This Toronto is the same day. It's a separate event, but it is going to be exactly same, 25th to the 27th. And in Europe, they're going to be in Paris, London, Milan, Berlin, Madrid, Amsterdam, and then they're going to be in Melbourne, May 10th through the 11th. So you can go to Nintendo's website. They have all the dates there where the registration for the events that are happening in New York, Los Angeles, and Dallas are happening tomorrow on the 17th. I don't know what specific time, but I'm definitely going to try and get out there, especially because I live in New York. It's easy for me to go. Josh, let's get your thoughts on some of the revealed information.
It's a raffle. So you sign up.
Yeah, there you go.
And then it's going to be a raffle.
Luck of the draw.
Yeah. And if you have X amount of people, you can have up to 8 people on your family plan. I think they all automatically win if you win, kind of thing. So you can, bring some people along. But they did the same thing with the Nintendo Live at PAX West in 2023. And so you had to win the raffle in order to get in. And so they know it's going to be a popular thing. Now, pure speculation, pure speculation. But the moment PAX East changed their dates from March to May last year, my immediate thought was, this is for the Switch 2.
Makes sense.
So
makes sense.
That'll be during the time that they're doing some of these events. And so maybe they're able to, I don't know if they're able to split the staffing. The other rumor that I've heard is that Best Buy has been gearing up for potential events within their stores as well. There's been some internal emails and stuff that have supposedly leaked. Again, grain of salt with everything, because it's leaks, rumors, you know how it goes. So I mean, being on the East Coast now and being so close to New York, like, I really, really hope I get picked. Would love to be able to go hands-on and be able to talk about it. Like, that would be great for the channel,
Oh yeah,
like,
big deal.
yeah, fantastic for the channel. So I'm definitely going to try, and we'll see what happens there. And I mean, it's just, I don't know. I'm just like, I'm on cloud 9 right now. Like, we've been waiting for this. It's, I've watched my shows and everything, like, slowly trail off a bit, just because, like, there's not a lot of hype around the older Switch games and everything. And now this is gonna hopefully bring everything back to life and get people excited and looking forward to playing Nintendo games again.
You know, you said something before we went live, and someone actually in the chat asked Master BKB Lubu. First of all, brother, salute to you. Thank you so much for being here. Says, do you, I will wait for some limited edition, some sort of limited edition for Switch 2, and then I'll buy one. You have some thoughts and some theories as to what they're going to do at launch. Why don't you break that down for everybody? Because I think you're onto something.
Again, it's just rumors that there's at least 3 SKUs, and I think I've seen GameStop show 4 SKUs, so that is even more confusing. But if the 3 SKUs that are supposedly happening are the charcoal one that we saw in the trailer,
Right.
a white model as well, and a Mario Kart 9 or 10 or whatever they end up calling it.
Yes, special edition console.
Special edition.
Yes.
Yes. So, and what I'm really hoping it looks like, if you guys have, if you want to see, well, I can show you here. Actually, it's going to be a little bit small on screen, but I hope it looks similar to my case here as this focuses. I hope
That's
the
nice,
Joy-Cons
dude. Yes.
have, like, you know, just all, like, they've got all the different, like, Mario motors and Bob-omb plugs and, you know, propeller toad transport, all this different stuff. Like, I hope they really lean into that, and, like, there's, like, some cool checkered flags. Like, I really, really want to do it up. I really want to see them do it up, because I feel like with the Switch special editions, especially the Mario ones, they were somewhat lackluster. And I really hope that the Mario Kart Switch is just really gaudy and over the top, and just, like, I wanna smell the rubber of the tires, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
let's just do it up. So,
I agree.
fingers
Listen,
crossed.
again, this is going to be a celebration. It's going to sell out. I'm actually a bit nervous. They just closed the GameStop that's literally like within well, not really walking distance. It's a 5-minute car ride from me. The closest one now is in Yonkers, which I cannot. I mean, I used to. I've been shopping there for 20 plus years, and they closed the store. So disappointing, GameStop. So I may have to go the Best Buy route, which is again not too far from where we are here in New Rochelle. But yeah, I want to read some super chats because Don Otaku has some really phenomenal points here regarding its power. First super chat of the day comes the way of Sith Lord. He drops a very generous $2 super chat, and he says, "Hopefully, the 2 is bigger and better and has an SSD." That's interesting. I would imagine that it's probably going to. The rumored price of this thing, we're going to get to that in a second, because I have a feeling you might get some sticker shock here, folks. I'm prepared for it already, but I don't think a lot of people are. Don Otaku, who's a great member of the gaming community, and Mr. Nintendo himself, for sure, he says this after dropping a $5 super chat. It's comparative on the raw GPU power to the PlayStation 4 Pro, but it still beats it because it's a much better CPU and SSD-like speeds. That's very interesting. He goes on to say in his additional super chat of $5, also the LCD display will be a huge upgrade compared to the OG Switch because it's a Samsung display versus the old one being a Toshiba. And I did not know that because again, I have a Samsung. It's one of my favorite brands. Their TVs and their LCD stuff is amazing. Of course, you know, obviously it's going to be newer technology, so I'm sure it's going to slap. Mr. Nichols drops a very generous $2 super chat and says, Call of Duty Mobile or COD on Switch 2. Wow. Yeah, I can see that being a launch title. We're actually going to get into that because I think Nintendo is going to be the big man on campus. I really do. I'm not taking anything away from PlayStation or what Xbox is doing this year. What I'm going to say, though, is you're going to see both of those big those publishers, want to put games on the Switch too. And we know that Xbox is rumored to be putting a whole bunch of them on there, including the Master Chief Collection, which is just unbelievable that we're in a world where those kind of lines have been blurred and crossed. Donald Taco drops an additional $5 super chat and says, I appreciate it, Boom. I wish I could join, but I'm in the middle of work right now. No sweat, brother. Again, I just wanted to throw the invite out there. We'll get you on another time. Because there's going to be a lot more to talk about, but let's talk sticker price or sticker shock price. I have heard, and again, this is rumors, like same thing Josh has been talking about, that it's going to be $500 out the gate. $499.99. Is that is that something that's going to make you walk away from it? Not me. I mean, again, I'm good for three, so I'm going to be spending $1,500+. I got to get one for me, one for Mrs. Boom, and one for Tyler. So I'm in it, and Mrs. Boom doesn't care about Mario Kart, so I only got to buy 2 of those. It's fine. What do you think about the price? Do you think it's 500? And here's an interesting one. If it is coming out this year, do you see a price drop coming for the current Switch available? Because it doesn't really make sense that you're going to have to, they'll be so close in price, but so different in power.
Are you ready for this? Like,
Please.
there's so much here, man. There's so much. So, from what I've seen, again, I'm just gonna continue prefacing everything with a grain of salt, but 256 gigs is what we're getting for internal.
Okay.
And they are based on a GameStop leak. And I'm just going off of memory right now, so I could be I could be mistaken, but the extreme SD cards up to 1 terabyte, which I think are selling for like 130 based on the GameStop SKU.
Okay.
So they will run on those very fast SD cards, which is also a very good thing.
Okay.
So something to keep in mind there. 256. So that's a much more storage, but we're gonna need it if we're talking games like Call of Duty. I mean, Call of Duty is on my Xbox right now. It's taking up like a quarter of my terabyte, right? Like it's that
huge,
thing.
dude.
That thing's
Yeah.
a monster.
Yeah.
And so that's. I mean, what are we getting there? Are we going to get Warzone? Are we going to get Black Ops 6? Is that happening? I don't know. It's completely up in the air still.
Right.
Are we getting Call of Duty Mobile? That's still a very that game is fantastic. The mobile game is great. Obviously, would be great for the Switch too as well. Price, my gut feeling is that it's going to come in around 400.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, that's my gut feeling. I mean,
So you're thinking the power price of $399.99. That would get those things to fly off shelves, bro.
Exactly, because they know the money's in the software, right? And you said something too about worrying about them selling out. Supposedly, there's been internal delays. That's the reason that we haven't seen this thing yet, because they don't want scalpers getting a hold of this. And
I know they don't. It's been made mention in a couple of articles where Nintendo is going to they are really going to be going over everything with a fine-tooth comb, because they are concerned about the scalping community. And you know what drive them to this? What happened with the PlayStation 5?
Yeah. Yeah, and there's a lot of forward thinking there. If it ends up being 500, I mean, it is, from my understanding, going to be a much more powerful machine.
Yep.
But it seems that would be sticker shock, I think, for the Nintendo fan base. And I just don't know. I think they've watched history enough to know that when these consoles come out over or too much over that $400 price point, it's they you hear companies say things like get a second job, like
And that didn't go too well for them, so we don't want to hear that again.
no, they don't. And so I think they also know that it's a console a lot of parents buy for their kids.
Yes.
And so now, does that mean that they could have the Switch 2 Lite coming out within the next couple years at a lower price point or whatever, like, sure, that's a possibility, but, like, they don't want these things sitting on shelves, you know? So they've gotta price it accordingly, and right now, their most expensive SKU on the OLED is 350.
Yeah.
So going $50 over that, I would assume, especially with the LCD, not the OLED, that's gonna that, like, that they've taken the necessary steps to be able to price this thing accordingly. We got to remember too that, like, the Switch was an old tablet when it came out in 2017. It was dated tech then. I can only assume that this is going to be somewhat dated tech as well, but we're going to see a lot of magic under the hood, and that's going to allow it to pull off a lot of impressive looking graphics with the DLSS and what it's capable of. So, and even up to 4K. I don't know what the resolution or the frame rate will be at that point, but the rumors are that it will go up to 4K. So
Nice.
we'll just have to wait and see. And I'm even looking at the chat, and saying some people are saying anything over 400 would be a tough sell. Like, and I think when you go 150 above your highest model Switch, I don't I it seems like it would be a little risky. So
I mean, again, it's they are using older chips, right? It is going to be better hardware for sure. It's going to be out. Donald Taco broke it down why it's going to be better. We actually had a super chat here that asks a question, and I think it's pretty interesting. It says it's by Black Nightmare. No, Blade Nightmare. Well, Blade Nightmare, thank you so much for being here, brother. He drops a very generous $5 super chat. And this makes sense. Maybe this is the multiple SKUs that you might be referring to, Josh. He says, hopefully, they give multiple internal hard drive sizes like 128 gig, 256 gig, and up to 512 gig. That actually makes sense. But I think the one thing that we won't see, especially if they have multiple, like colors, if there's going to be the charcoal, the white, and potentially a Mario Kart one. That the Mario Kart one seems to me like that's happening because Mario Kart 9, if you watch the trailer, I saw some people saying, "Oh, that's old Mario Kart." No, that is not. I've never seen that level. I've played them all. That is a new level. That means, again, why show an old Mario Kart? They're there to show you the new one, which is rumored to be at launch. There's also, we're going to get into that in a second, what rumored games are possibly launching with this. I've heard 4. I've heard 4 games. Now, we'll get to that in a second. Any thoughts to that, Josh, about the 128, 256, and 512? You think they're going to have multiple SKUs in regards to memory, or they're just going to do the 256 and let you upgrade by buying one of the cards?
I think just based on the way they did it with, I mean, the Switch, I think they upped the OLED to 6, they doubled it from 32 to 64, if I
Yeah.
remember correctly. Like, I've had a terabyte card in mine for so long that it's like not something that I think about.
Yeah, we have
right?
terabyte
But,
cards as well. I don't even give it a second thought.
So, and again, I think if it's 256, that's very generous, right? If that, and I believe based on shipping manifest, that's what that number is. And so that to me would be a great starting point because you don't necessarily have to run out and get that SD card right away. Like you could still have a number of games on there. So I would be surprised to see them go that route. That if they just based on storage size, and I think, yeah, I would be shocked if if that lowered the price or raised the price all that much because I think these SD cards are first party, or at least they're being marketed like, obviously they're from Samsung or whatever, but like
They'll have Nintendo packaging.
like branding on them and stuff.
Yeah,
Yeah.
sure.
So that's why I'm thinking like they can just, you know, and so maybe it does come in under, maybe it is 128, maybe 256 isn't correct. You know, I don't know. We'll just have to wait and see. But that being said, I mean, selling another SD card, especially if they've kind of got the lock on the extreme ones, and that means, you know, like virtually no loading time and that kind of stuff, like that's that's going to be a smart way to go.
Yeah, I agree. And plus, what does it ultimately do? Keep prices down, right? It
Yeah.
keeps the price down, and you seem to think that it's going to be $399.99 and $400. Again, if it's $400, I'm going to be shocked because it is. We are in 2025. Everything is expensive, but Nintendo, like you said, does not want these consoles sitting on shelves, and they certainly don't want scalpers getting their hands on them. Before we get out of here, let's talk about launch games, because we know we already confirmed that the game that was shown at the end of it was Mario Kart, either 9 to X or whatever it's going to be called. It's a new Mario Kart. The question is, what else are they going to have? Now, personally, I hope that they have, and it's pretty much standard fare, that they're going to have a new 3D Mario game. But I was telling Josh in the green room, as great as that sounds, to get a new one, I kind of don't want a new one. Well, I do. What I mean by that is, as of today, we have never had a remake, remaster, or anything of N64, Mario 64. I would absolutely love for them to have taken that game, which was a love letter to Mario. It was the first 3D attempt for for Nintendo, and it's as classic as they get. I would have absolutely zero issues buying that at full price if it's remade, not like a HD remaster. I mean, like remade from the ground up. How many first party games do you think are going to be happening for the launch of this console?
That's a great question. This I think it's something worth we're taking a look at. Nintendo is not doing what they had to do for Switch 1, right? They were like backs against the wall, no third-party support or very little third-party support. They needed to show up and show up big. That is a great picture.
That's the Nintendo Ninjas.
Yeah,
That's great.
I
On
love it.
Taco. I love it.
That is fantastic. So, it's, you have to remember, it's the year of it's the 40th anniversary of Super Mario Brothers.
Yes.
So that means there's plenty for them to choose from. Not only Mario Kart, which we know is coming now. I have a theory that because this is the Switch 2, we may see Nintendo do some things that were that are kind of unorthodox for them, which is do sequels to games that haven't otherwise had sequels.
Interesting.
Typically, right?
Yeah.
So you've got Super Mario Galaxy and then Galaxy 2, both came out on the Wii. Odyssey came out on the Switch, did very well.
Excellent. One of my favorites in the series, too. What a great game, dude.
And part of my gut feeling is that we're going to see an Odyssey 2.
Ah, okay.
And the reason for that is, and this, again, this may be a topic for a whole other show, is I believe that Nintendo's version of Game Pass will happen this year, and that this generation, and that the whole backwards compatibility thing, as great as it is for the consumer and everybody that's already been collecting games through the years, if that library can be added to a membership, and now you can, also go play the first in the series if you want by picking up. If you guys remember, if you've been in the gaming space for a long time, Nintendo Selects or Player's Choice.
Yep.
Right? Where they drop the price of their games $20. If they keep going with the voucher system, that voucher system could allow you to buy 3 old Switch games for $100. Now you're playing the firsts in those series before the sequels drop. And so I think there's so much opportunity for them to continue selling the older software at a discounted price, get their membership going. And so with the 40th anniversary of Mario, there's a very real possibility that Mario Maker 3 becomes a thing, and they can
Oh,
really
wow.
showcase the
Yeah.
mouse and how you could build levels with the mouse feature, and then sell a Mario Maker mouse also, and have that bright yellow mouse with some Mario and Luigi PNGs on it, or whatever the case may be. And so it's going to be a year of Mario. I don't know what if they do too much Mario at launch, if they sprinkle it in throughout the year. If you look at the 35th anniversary of Mario, there was a lot of Mario, like a lot of Mario, like 3D World, and the Game and Watch came out, and they did All Stars on the Nintendo Switch Online. They did the 3D All Stars, which only had was only available for a limited time. Mario 35, which was that multiplayer with Super Mario Brothers. So I believe we're gonna see a ton of Mario throughout this first year. But I also think third parties, the rumors for third party games, just off the top of my head without looking at the list: Red Dead Redemption 2,
Oh,
Tekken,
wow. Yeah.
Final Fantasy Remake and Rebirth, Halo Master Chief Collection, and those are just off the top of my head. Well, now Nintendo's got to make sure that they're not flooding the consumer with too much first party if third party is now going to be a very viable option this time around. Like the last Switch, everybody said, "Oh, I want everything on Switch." And then we played everything on Switch, and we were like, "Okay, we can pump the brakes a little bit." Like I said, Doom looked like Clay Fighter, but this time around, I don't think it's going to be the case. And I think I can't wait to be able to play Final Fantasy if that ends up being a reality. And
Yeah.
there's talks of Elden Ring making its way to the Switch and all that kind of stuff. So it's Nintendo has not been in this place. Oh, also Madden and different titles from EA. So they're looking to be in a very, very healthy place with potentially a massive amount of software. And so it's just going to be more a matter of where do we drop everything strategically so that we don't undercut something else. And so it's going to be a really exciting time.
Great
Really
points all
exciting
around.
time.
Yeah, it's absolutely. Don Otaku, let's bring you in, brother. Thank you so much for popping in here. Just appreciate you taking the time. I see you got your back covered by the Nintendo ninjas. They're deadly, so be careful what you say. You know what? We don't have a lot of time. We're gonna spend another couple of minutes because you obviously showed up here. We got to get your hot take. Let's get your thoughts on the reveal. Obviously, the full on direct is happening in April. Again, I wish it would have been a little bit sooner, but fine. Oh, it's not a problem. What's your excitement factor? I think the console looks phenomenal. Let's get your thoughts.
Yeah, so obviously my hype levels are on 100 out of 10. I've been waiting for this moment for a while, but I will say that the reveal itself was, I guess, because of how much I already knew and how much we've already seen, it was a little underwhelming, or at least I was hoping for more of a the OG Switch 1 trailer where they were kind of showing off different games and showing off all of the different features. But I understand why if we didn't already see all of this stuff, it would have probably hit a lot different seeing the new form factor, the magnet Joy-Cons. But yeah, that's how I feel about the reveal itself. But as far as the hardware and the specs, yes, the 256 gigabytes of storage, I feel like that is a really good upgrade. And for the most part, especially with the first party games, that won't fill up. That won't fill up anytime soon. once we see a Call of Duty hit the Switch 2, that's gonna basically be when you need to upgrade your storage. And that is UFS 3.1 according to rumors, and that basically would be putting it at a max of 2.1 gigabytes per second compared to like the Xbox Series S and X's 2.4 gigabytes per second as far as speeds go with the storage. So it is very comparable to an SSD, even though it's not technically an SSD. As far as what I expect from the power, I do expect it to hit somewhere in between the PS4 Pro and the Series S. That would be before utilizing DLSS. So I expect it to be more. It'll be able to run games you wouldn't be able to run on a PS4 Pro. I just don't think that it'll hit the maximum power of like a Series S unless they like really utilize DLSS to the maximum capabilities. But I see most third-party games, especially AAA third-party games, hitting the Switch 2, and I'll even go as far as saying we will see GTA 6 running on the Switch 2.
What? You think so?
Yes.
All right.
I'll stake my claim right now that we will see GTA 6 hit the Switch 2, maybe around either right before this the PC release or slightly after the PC release of it. But
well, listen, I mean, it's going to be much better than the Switch 1 by leaps and bounds.
Yeah, this is probably one of the biggest upgrades in a single console generation that we've seen in a while, because when you look at where the Switch 1 was in terms of power, and if these specs are true, which there's a lot backing the Switch 2 specs that we've seen so far, it's almost 8 times the power as far as just raw GPU power, and then even CPU is around the same as well, which we don't see upgrades like that often anymore.
Not with Nintendo, that's for sure.
Yeah, especially not with Nintendo. And as far as the price, I'm expecting it to be $399.99 in the
like
US.
Josh. Yeah.
And I know y'all said that they don't take losses on consoles anymore. I think that this is the one that they're going to take a loss on. I don't think they hit the $399 price without taking a loss. But I think that they are more confident than they were going into the Switch 1, where they feel like they can take the loss and still end up profiting because of what the Switch 1 was able to do. As far as the lineup for
how many games do you think they're going to have at launch? Do you think? Because I'm hearing 4. For launch, first party launch. Usually their standard fare is about 2. Usually they give you 2, and maybe a small, indie one in there. But I think they go balls to the walls with this one. I mean, if you're talking about they have the power, they have the price. The screen is much bigger. Much bigger Joy-Cons, which you can use actually with human hands, which is great, because the single Joy-Con use was like trying to play using a toothpick, at least for me, because I have big mitts, right? So they understand that, so that's awesome. We know Mario Kart 9 or whatever it's going to be called is there. They showed it. It looks phenomenal. The question is, what else do you think they're going to release, or what have you heard?
So I actually haven't heard too many rumors as far as first party games, besides the ones that we just know that it's been a while since we've seen them, like the 3D Mario team. We know it's time for them to release a new game. So I'm expecting a 3D Mario in 2025. I'm expecting Mario Kart, which we just got the confirmation of, and I believe it's going to be Mario Kart 10, because I believe Nintendo actually counts Mario Kart Tour as Mario Kart 9.
Yep.
So I believe it's Mario Kart 10 for that one, which they did confirm, or I guess not confirm, but you can see in the trailer that there are 24 positions. So that means there will be 24 racers this time instead of 12. So I'm excited about the mayhem that's going to cause.
There we go. I think we're back.
Ooh, did we?
Yeah, we're back. Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, I'm liking that it's going to have 24 players this time. That sounds like it's going to be mayhem, especially online.
Yeah, it's gonna be crazy. Yeah,
And
it's gonna be
then
fun, especially online. And that's the other thing that we didn't get into. We don't have any information on it, and we are running close to the 1 hour
yes,
mark. And I got a show starting at 12, which of course, if anyone wants to hear some of the bombs that Shuhei Yoshida dropped during that kind of funny interview, tune in at 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, ladies and gentlemen, because oh my God, he dropped some bombs. Now, again, I'm not trying to. I love Shu. He's a great dude. Some of the stuff I'm actually surprised he said. And now, obviously, he has no. He's retired. He retired from PlayStation. They sent him off in a good, fun way. But some of the stuff he's talking about, J Rock on the socials has been dropping some bombs. Same thing for Everborn Saga. Pretty interesting stuff. We're going to break that down. Plus, there is a rumor, ladies and gentlemen, that there is a new Halo that is going to be unveiled and shown off potentially in June. Very excited for that. That story came the way of Tom Henderson's website. We're going to get into that as well. But hey, first of all, Don, thank you. I know you were working, brother. Thank you so much for popping in here, giving us your lowdown on what you think is going to be there. Before we get to outros with Josh and you, just additionally, I know that we Mario Kart is a lock.
Mhm.
3D Mario, I think it's pretty much a lock as well because that team has been sitting on something. What it is, we don't know, but it's going to be big. 3D Mario seems almost a guarantee for a new console, and this console has a lot of oomph behind it. But will they add 2 additional ones? Because I had heard there could be a new Zelda there. Now that could happen at the end of the year. In reverse, you got to remember, 2017, you got bookend that year. You got the Zelda to launch, and then of course back end in the holiday you got the Mario. I think we could see something similar, just except different placement. Mario up front, Zelda on the back end. But I kept hearing that F-Zero was going to make a return, potentially a new Animal Crossing, because remember they stopped all updates a couple of years ago. I mean, I play my Animal Crossing with Mrs. Boom every day. Like we don't miss a day, and we love it. And she would freak out if there was a new one. Do you think there's a chance that we could get one of those as well?
So as far as what I'm expecting, as far as first party for the first year, one, we're gonna see at least one new IP.
Okay, nice.
And I think the new IP will be at least within if not the launch day, it'll be within the first month. So I'm expecting a new IP because they always try to launch at least one new IP in that first launch period.
Yeah, the launch window.
Yeah, so it was ARMS with the Switch or with the Wii U is like or I guess I would say 2 then, because they usually have like I won't say pack-in game, but the game that kind of sells the features of it, like a 1-2 Switch.
Yes.
And then like a Nintendo Land on the Wii U, the Wii Sports on the Wii. I think they'll have one of those kind of smaller, like mini game focused to kind of test the features of the Switch or the Switch 2. They'll have something like that. But then I feel like they'll have an actual like big new IP, like an ARMS that we'll see in the first year as well. I also believe that we'll see a Splatoon within the first year. That's kind of a given. It also goes with the cycle that they've been going with every 3 years, I believe. It was 2020 or 2017, and then Splatoon 3. Or actually, no. It was more than 3 years, actually. I forgot. Because Splatoon 2 was 2017. We didn't get the other one until 2022. But
yeah,
I know that they just stopped support of Splatoon 3.
Yeah, well, actually, that makes sense because they're going to wind up probably launching a new one. Makes sense.
We maybe not in the first year. I don't, just because of how close it is, we might not see it in the first year. But I do expect a Splatoon pretty early on, if not 2025, 2026 for sure.
Okay.
I don't see a Zelda coming out. And the reason that I say that is because Grezzo is the team that usually does the remakes. Because if we were going to see a new Zelda, I think it would have been a remake.
Right.
And The reason that I say that they're not going to be having a Zelda in the first year is because Grezzo just made Zelda Echoes of Wisdom.
Yes.
So that was them doing that game, their first like full new game versus doing remakes the whole time. So if they just did that, I don't think they would have time to make a remake as well. And Tears of the Kingdom was 2023. I don't see them making a big open world Zelda anytime soon as well.
That's fair. So you think it may be 3 games? I mean, listen, it's going to be very interesting. April is not too far away. I honestly wish it was sooner. I wish it would have been February, so we don't have to wait as long. But the big reveal is happening in April. Get ready, folks. And again, if you want to try your luck at being picked at this raffle, there's going to be 3 places that you're going to be able to register tomorrow. It's going to be Dallas, Texas, New York, and Josh, what was the other one?
LA,
and Los Angeles,
and Toronto.
So again, go to the website or go to them on Twitter, follow them, follow Nintendo, and you'll be able to click and save it. And then of course when the registration goes live, which I believe is going to be Tokyo time, not our time, their time, you can try your luck. But that's going to do it for us here. Josh, I want to get you on out of here. I want to get Donald Taco out of here. Brother Josh, thank you so much for joining us today. This was awesome. We got to get you back on. Let's sell your brand, brother, because you obviously do a lot on TikTok. You have your own YouTube channel, and now I would imagine you're going to be tickled pink to talk about anything Nintendo because there is still a lot to get into. Sell the brand, brother. Where can people subscribe to your YouTube channel? Potentially go over to TikTok and follow you where you do Mario Kart races on a regular basis, and more importantly, follow you on social media.
Yeah. So I am N64Josh everywhere. YouTube is my new big push. So if you guys are interested in daily Nintendo content, make sure to follow me over there, especially with the looming ban of TikTok, which it's looking like probably Sunday, maybe that. So I have a Nintendo podcast that I do called the Nintendo Powercast. It's on YouTube as well as Spotify and wherever you listen to podcasts. And I'm kind of just everywhere, and I'm always looking to not just talk games but play games. Like I love racing Mario Kart with my community. I love doing Mario Party now. Like
Mario
we try to
Party's
have as much.
I love that.
It's I've really tried to focus my content more on like the fun of gaming, the fun aspect of gaming, and just building community around that. So that being said, though, I still I still bleed green. Like I love my Xbox. Been playing some Call of Duty, and I played a little Halo yesterday even, and so I'm a huge Xbox fan as well. So I'm excited for the future of especially with these two kind of working together. So yeah,
it's gonna be very interesting. I think there's gonna be some interesting collabs with Nintendo and Xbox. Looking forward to that. Donald Taco, brother, sell the brand. Where could people follow you on social media? But more importantly, what else you got going on? YouTube channel, TikTok. Tell everyone where they can check those out.
Appreciate you for inviting me, Boom. Y'all can find me on Twitter as Donald Taku, at Pasta Feet F3ET. Don't ask about that. And you can find me on YouTube, also Donald Taku, where I do 2 podcasts: the Dual Wheel Gaming Podcast with my co-host Subeg Dhaliwal, but also the Project Untitled Gaming Podcast with a eclectic cast of my day one friends from high school who are more casual gamers.
Yeah.
And we basically kind of do the ins and outs of the industry from a casual and from a hardcore gamer standpoint. So it's a lot of different takes and a lot of surprising takes from the panel that we usually don't get from these podcasts, since most podcasters are like hardcore gamers. So I love that side of it. But also I'm starting to do twitch.tv /Don Solo SOLOW. So you can also find me on there playing some Rocket League, Fortnite, other things. So yeah, those are what I'm on right now.
Well, listen, brother, thank you so much for joining us. Ladies and gentlemen, that's going to do it for us here on the breaking news special, the Switch 2 reveal. We're all excited. Again, we know some things. We don't know everything, but everything is going to be revealed in April. Very much looking forward to that. Again, I have to figure out who I'm going to buy it from. Hopefully, it won't be a problem, but they do sell out really quickly. So I'm going to try, even if I got to wait online in front of Best Buy to get in there and drop the coin down on these new consoles. Thank you so much for checking us out here today. Don't forget, in just about 55 minutes, we'll be going live, C Money and myself, on the new episode of X Vlog Live. We have a lot to get into. That's going to be a powerful $120, give or take. So tune in there. And of course, I'm going to close it. A big thank you to all of the super chats. Don, thank you so much for the generosity, brother. Super appreciate that. All the super chats that came in. Mrs. Boom and I truly appreciate all of them. As a matter of fact, you know what? Let me just catch up because I think there were a couple of more here. Yeah, there were. Okay, so before we get out of here, let's see. Mr. Nichols drops a $2 super chat and says, Nintendo got iPhone selling power. Money didn't matter. I mean, there's that for sure. Sith Lord drops a very generous $2 super chat and says, talking about storage, Call of Duty is 300 gigs. Just saying. I mean, that's going to be an issue. Finessful J drops a very generous $5 super chat and says, Halo and Metroid both in the launch window would be insane for Nintendo fans. I think it's certainly a possibility. There is a new Metroid coming out. It could release for the Switch. It's going to release for the Switch 1, but there could be a Switch 2 version. We will see if that's the route that they go. Blade Nightmare drops an additional very generous $5 super chat and says, do you think Nintendo will do active online members to console limit pre-orders? That's an interesting theory, and it's very Nintendo-like. I think you're onto something, Blade Nightmare. That actually makes a lot of sense, where they would actually, if you have an account and they may give us, because I pay for it, Mrs. Boom pays for it, and I pay for Tyler's. So maybe they would give us an opportunity to pre-order first. That's very, very interesting. I didn't even think about that. That's a great point, dude. Thank you for the additional generosity. He drops an additional $2 super chat and says, would you bet your life on a GTA 6 on Switch 2? Donald Taco, I don't know. That's a gamble.
Let's see. Would I bet my life? No. But if we don't see GTA 6 I'll say by 2027, if we don't see GTA 6 on the Switch 2, I'll eat a Joy-Con. I'll eat a Joy-Con on stream.
Oh my goodness. I don't want to see that happen. So hopefully GTA 6 does come out on Switch 2. But if it could run, if they're saying they don't have a problem it running on a S, we'll see. We'll definitely see. Nino Vistic, our generous friend all the way from Hawaii, drops once again a gifted double barrel gaming membership. Thank you, kind sir. Aloha to you and the fam. Thank you so much for the generosity. And again, folks, that's going to do it for us here. A big thank you to all of the super chats and the continued support through channel membership. We like to take that and push it right back into the community, which we did in a big way last year, and we're going to be doing it the same thing this year. We haven't announced what those contests are going to be because we're trying to figure it out financially, but we will be dropping that information soon enough. And of course, I'm going to close out the show with something that's incredibly important to me, folks. Hopefully, one day it'll be important to you, and that's something that my dad taught us when we were kids, and he would say, Craig, treat others how you want to be treated. And also, it doesn't cost anything to be nice. You live by those rules, son. I can guarantee you're going to have an awesome day. So take care, everyone. And we'll see you on the next breaking news special.